Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 3rd of March and the next day in this 31 days of March Madness. I'm Laura Serrant, and I am a global inclusive leadership specialist and a coach. 3rd of March, the next day. So today is the letter B, and the letter B is for brave. What a great word. It's a word that we use to make us feel pumped up. It's a word that's often used to describe great leaders. But it got me to thinking, what actually is being brave? I know myself in my time as a leader and my current work, that often I haven't felt brave. It's been an interesting and a surprise to me sometimes how people describe me as being brave. They talk about my ability to move forward. When we are brave, people talk about our ability to keep going even when things are really, really difficult. But we know as leaders and we know as people, when we face difficulties, when we face challenges, brave is the last thing that we often feel. And I've worked out why that is. And that's because for the majority of time, I don't actually think brave is a feeling. Fear is what we feel. Anxiety may be what we feel. Anticipation even may be what we feel. Brave is something that we do. Brave is caught up in the actions that we take, the decisions that we make to think differently, to move differently, as opposed to feel the fear and do it anyway, as someone much more famous than me once said. In moments when we are called to be brave, we often do so not quite reluctantly, but often wishing that there was an alternative way forward. We try to think of different ways in which we can avoid the very thing that calls for us to challenge ourselves and be challenged by a situation. Bravery comes in many, many guises. It can come in the formal or common way of thinking about it, which is getting up, fighting, the bravery of the soldier, the bravery of the person who gets to do one more thing, who challenges new peaks, the bravery of the person who pushes themselves to greater heights. But bravery can also be embodied in decisions that we make. The decision to leave everything that we know and to travel to different lands, to challenge ourselves in places where we don't know the language, we don't know the rules, but we continue to strive to be in those places and push our knowledge, our learning and ourselves to a different height. I suppose it's like the bravery shown by my parents and many others of the Windrush generation, and the continual bravery of people who travel to other lands for hope of a better outcome, a better future for themselves or for their children and descendants. Just imagine what it's like to think about leaving all you know behind and move forward. All you know behind and step into a different kind of life. Of course, it's easy to think about that in large, big, bold movements. But as human beings, we do this all the time. In our normal lifespan, we do it. We do it at work, when we choose to leave an organisation or an industry that we've been in many, many years, and push ourselves to do a different profession, or even the same profession but as a business owner rather than an employee of somebody else. That's a different kind of bravery. And that's the bravery that comes with embracing change and challenges that we bring in ourselves. And then, of course, there is the quiet type of bravery. The bravery that makes no headlines. The bravery that makes no great fanfare in its actions. The bravery to get up and do just one more day. the bravery to live in the moment and be with yourself in the moment, recognising the challenges that you face, the internal bravery that speaks to yourself, maybe following divorce, maybe following child loss or trying to bring a child home, or maybe even following living with and through depression and anxiety. As leaders, as business owners, and as people, bravery is part of our very essence of being who we are. Bravery is not just about ourselves either. It's about recognising and the contributions and the challenges and the wonderful uniqueness of other individuals. It takes a brave leader to raise a hand and say, that was not my idea, it was somebody else's. Bravery sits in the actions that we do. But if we go to the other extreme of bravery, when I looked in the dictionary, along with the wonderful words of courage, courageousness, lion-hearted even, seeing as we're talking about March, there's also at the other extreme foolhardiness. Bravery, if it's not supported with action and thought, can sometimes be foolhardy. Rushing unknown into a room, releasing and sharing secrets that we think are a brave thing to do, challenging in the face of an individual that we believe has done us wrong. Bravery without thought and reflection, bravery and actions on the basis of incomplete knowledge can lead us to that foolhardy place. And some of us can probably think of occasions when we felt we were being brave and actually we were more foolhardy. So what this brings to mind for me is the very way in which bravery is an active way of being as a human being. It's not a passive action. It's not something only reflective of our past. It's reflective of the kind of lives we live now and how we choose to be as human beings. I can't really leave talking about bravery without thinking about Brené Brown, who we know, a world famous author, reader, academic and researcher, who talks a lot about braving. She introduced bravery and braving as an active way of being, and that's something that really resonates with me and always has. And when I think about her reading of the Manifesto of the Brave and the Broken-Hearted, one of the things that really strikes me about what she says is that there is no greater threat to the critics and cynics and the fearmongers than those of us who are willing to fall because we have learned how to rise. That's the action of a brave person for me. Brave leadership, brave entrepreneurship, and brave humanity sits in our ability to be confident in our competence to rise when we fall. Queen Latifah, another one of my huge sheroes, says, "Be bold, be brave, and be brave enough to be yourself." Our bravery sits within us as us. It sits in the stories that make us who we are, and it sits in the way we choose to act in the face of challenge and adversity. So if your bravery is about fighting, is about courage, and it sits in the headlines, that's fabulous. But if your bravery is about getting up, brushing your teeth, and going to work, then that is equally powerful. So here on the 3rd of March, I leave you with B for bravery. Be bold, but above all, be yourself. And give yourself the grace, or should I say gift yourself the grace to be perfectly imperfect in your brave acts. I'll see you tomorrow.